How do you get over someone? You're always gonna carry that weight. Time will strengthen your back. It's been 2 years, I still think about it every single day. I'm unsure if this makes sense, but now it hurts on the inside. I still dream about her, still wish I could have done something to save the relationship. In my eyes she was the love of my life, and I'm honestly scared that I'll never get over her. I wish I could stop thinking about her for just one day, just one. Nobody knows about it, I suffer alone. You'll try a million things, but the only real answers are time and / or eternal sunshine of the spotless minding them. Just watched this movie. Such a great film that I took too long to watch. I learned Elijah Wood was a good actor because I started to personally hate him after watching that movie. Then I laughed and I love Daniel Radcliffe now. I think even though eternal sunshine of the spotless mind is an interesting concept, the only way to truly move on from someone is to accept that we all change all the time, and although they might have been the one for you back then, you just don't work now. And that's okay. If they made you happy, they were worth it. I don't think there are shortcuts to finding real peace at the end of a relationship, and it helps to remember that time heals all wounds. Don't listen to sad songs or the songs you both like, it will scratch your heart every time. Edit, thanks for my first award. Good thing my ex had shit taste in music, heyo. Edit, thanks for the showering of gold, kind Redditor. I think it's very important to build new memories that do not have that person in them. Otherwise we always tend to pine over every place, song, activity associated with them if you've been together for long. It's important to build new memories, go to different places, find a new hobby / activity and keep your mind involved in that. Drinking won't help either. I just surrounded myself with 5 of my best friends for months. Ended up marrying one, we have 3 kids. The ex-wife is hardly a blip on the radar anymore. Bert, what if your favorite song is Baka Mitai? In moderation, it can help. Maybe not songs that remind you of the relationship particularly, but sad songs can be helpful. Hiding from things that hurt isn't entirely healthy, it's good to let it out once in a while, and the right song can open the floodgates for a little catharsis. Just don't wallow. I think it's actually a good idea to listen to those sad songs because they help you feel those sad feelings, which I think is very important in order to get moving on with your life. Allow yourself to grieve. You lost someone who probably was a pretty important person to you at a time and also a big part of your everyday life. It's only natural to grieve about that as you would grieve about someone's death. Now sad songs allow me to be in a state of mind where I can feel the sadness while not feeling alone with it, since someone wrote a song about feeling like this as well. I find this to be very soothing and helpful in a way. This sucks for me BC, we have the same fave band, Sad Face. I make conscious effort to avoid hearing those songs, but sometimes it happens. And still stings a little more than 5 years later. We parted ways at amicable terms and I was the one who initiated it, but still. Music has such ways with me. I don't think so. Breaking up can feel like losing someone. And to get over them you need acceptance. And to get acceptance you need to grieve. Allow yourself to feel sad. Get it out of your system and move on. I feel sad songs kind of help in the same way that crying helps you get out your emotions. Don't listen to sad songs. That's when you realize every song is sad and / or every song's lyrics just seem to hit home. Even ones that you mindlessly used to sing along to suddenly mean something else now. I've had to pretty much quit listening to anything which has classical piano in it. Instantly drags me back into the whirlpool. This right here. After my ex broke up with me I reached rock bottom. One time at the grocery our favorite song just started playing and I couldn't stop crying. Play it out in your mind. Have the full unabashed conversation like that person was standing right in front of you. Talk to them. Remember why you aren't together. If it was mutual, then this usually works. If it's one-sided, and your heart is broken, embrace it. Embrace the pain, remember, if there isn't anything you can do about the situation, the only thing you can change is the way you react to it. Amor fati. Love your fate. If this person you wish to get over has passed on, and everything in the world is muted gray, dull, and terrible, then in my experience, getting over is not something you should really even attempt. That person, as all people, are never truly gone from this world until they are forgotten. It is your duty to live your life as best you can, never forgetting them, but also living as they would have wanted you to. Go on adventures, pet dogs, eat strange foods, read books that challenge your beliefs, grow as a person, and maybe one day find love again, knowing full well that they would approve. I'm 40 now, and it seems the older I get, the easier it becomes to walk away from people. I've met the love of my life 3 different times. I've loved women without ever telling them. I've been rejected, cheated on, dumped, ghosted, married and divorced. I've had one-night stands, and 12-year relationships. The only thing I can tell you is that the people we chose to love, leave pieces of themselves within us. Oftentimes, you don't even realize it until you have the strange desire to go to an IKEA on a Saturday afternoon, and have no idea why until you walk in and feel the nostalgia of walking around with someone, laughing at odd chairs, and wondering why this insignificant thing meant so much. That IKEA comment hits hard. I'm a month out of a breakup and feel like every action I take was influenced by my recently broken relationship. Hard to feel happy doing anything that we used to enjoy together without getting upset. My ex died during a mental breakdown. Weird feeling of guilt and panic as time passes. Every time I try to have a conversation with him in my head, I feel like I didn't know him enough and I feel bad for not knowing. One thing I'd recommend, try having the conversation out loud. You can use your mind to play everyone who isn't you, but there's some inherent value in speaking your own part out loud. I remember being 22, stupid, and furious after a relationship ended. It was easier to be angry than it was to be sad, so I really dove into that rage. I called that ex every mean name in the book, slung mud about her to friends and random strangers, left not so cryptic messages about how much I hated her on Reddit where I knew she'd find them all sorts of crappy stuff. In my mind, it was easy to justify everything. I hurt really bad, and she'd clearly and intentionally caused me a lot of emotional harm by breaking up with me and then getting together with someone else too darned quickly, and proving that I'd never meant anything to her. I drove a lot for work, and after literal months of going to bed and waking up angry with a woman I hadn't seen since I graduated college, I decided to finally talk about it out loud to the empty passenger's seat. And trying to call her a cruel bitch and worse, it stuck in my throat. Because it was a damn lie. We were both kids pretending to be adults wrapping up college. She wanted out because I wasn't a particularly good boyfriend to her. I was obsessed with sex, didn't have much by way of a future planned out or ambitions, dismissed her when she talked about stuff that bothered her, played too many video games. There was a laundry list of reasons why most people wouldn't have wanted to date my crusty ass in college. I'd ignored all of them because it was easier to pretend that she was just pure evil than it was to be sad and to acknowledge that I needed to change and improve if I ever wanted to have happy and healthy relationships again. Hashing it out with yourself out loud forces that sort of honesty and makes you examine things a little more clearly. You know when you're lying to yourself, it's just that sometimes you need the extra kick of having to say it. Not much to add, but I really liked the way this comment was written. Like reading a mini story, having a shitty day and it made it a bit better. Beautifully said. Thanks for sharing. I'm several months out from a relationship that lasted years and I totally feel you. I recently realized that I had developed habits solely because they made that person happy, or bought just normal things like a specific brand of bread lol just because it was what they liked. It's so crazy how people weave themselves into you and eventually you're doing things that remind you of them. A big thing for me was that I always talked about stuff as if me and her were a collective unit. I constantly used words like we, our, us, etc. And now I'm having to make myself say stuff like my apartment or what I did this weekend. There's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. I used to convince myself that I didn't think of him anymore, but the truth was I thought of him every day, until I didn't. People say you need time, but you also need patience. Just when I thought I was finally getting over him, I started to dream of him. I would wake up in tears because of how angry I was that I was doing so good on moving on, yet all it took was one 15-second dream to pull me back 20 steps. But in order to move on, you have to let yourself feel every emotion and have patience. This is exactly what is happening to me right now. It is frustrating. I was doing better, now I dream about her every night since a few nights, and it makes each start of my day a sad one. I improve during the day and then the cycle repeats itself. I want to reach out and talk every morning, but I know it would only make it worse for me. This is absolutely the best answer. Yes, you need time and it will take time, but a lot of people tend to repress what they're feeling and expect that those feelings will fade on their own. And sometimes they do. But in my personal experience, if you allow yourself to actually feel those feelings, they go away a lot faster. Don't get mad at yourself because it's not happening fast enough. This is me now, unfortunately. I at first got upset. I was angry at myself. For being so affected, for dreaming, and for having no controls. But I guess it's necessary. Now I wake up from my dream feeling so lonely, broken, bleak. Times I would just continue being in bed crying, but I think I get stronger day by day when it happens. The last sentence is basically a short description of ACT, acceptance commitment therapy, and truly what will help you, accept your feelings and let them be. Do not try to avoid your feelings by drinking, ignoring them, working more, doing anything to distract you from these feelings. Once you let them be, you'll see that they are only feelings and can't hurt you. Then they'll slowly vanish. Read about ACT, Russ Harris, The Happiness Trap. My ex is moving cities next month, and I went to meet her for a drink yesterday after not seeing her for a year. Brought up a lot of old feelings, but it was honestly good for me. We didn't end on bad terms, we just drifted apart over the years, and it was like two housemates living together, not a couple. I went through the same dreams too, doesn't feel like it will, but it gets easier. You cannot begrudge anyone their happiness, and if that means apart from you, then so be it. I feel like Marcus Aurelius writing this, but you know what I mean. You'll be fine. This is perfect. Even started crying before a hookup, reminded me too much of her. I'll leave this here. We rip out so much of ourselves to be cured of things faster than we should that we go bankrupt by the age of 30 and have less to offer each time we start with someone new. But to make yourself feel nothing so as not to feel anything, what a waste. How you live your life is your business. Just remember, our hearts and our bodies are given to us only once. And before you know it, your heart is worn out, and, as for your body, there comes a point when no one looks at it, much less wants to come near it. Right now, there's sorrow, pain. Don't kill it, and with it the joy you felt. Mr. Perlman. I know this all too well. It's been 8 years since, the one that got away. I still find myself being self-destructive in social events around others. I still think about her almost daily. Damn, it hurts, but sometimes you just accept that you fucked up and have to settle. That's basically where I am. I'm still figuring that out too, but here are what helped me in the process. Sit with your feelings. Acknowledge it. There will be days where you just want to cry and do nothing in bed. Let yourself grieve and cry. As many times as it takes. Try to remove your ex from your social media feed. If you don't want to block them just yet, hide their posts/stories. This includes Spotify if you both have it. Limiting their visibility on your feed would reduce the unnecessary trigger points. If you don't want to delete your chats, archive them. This helped me a lot because I wanted to reconnect back so bad, but I know it won't yield any good outcome. So anytime I want to reconnect back, I made it hard for myself cause I need to go for the extra clicks. Also, if you really want to reconnect and know you shouldn't, type what you want to say to your ex but don't send. Do something else like watch a YouTube video, have a meal, read. Then come back to that text. Usually that urge subsides for me and I became more logical after walking away from it. Remove photos that you took together out of your sight. Take down social media posts that you had with your ex. I couldn't bring myself to delete my whole year worth of photos in my phone, so I put them in my hard drive, which I don't usually reach out for unless I want to back up stuff. In a way, move the photos from your phone to some other drive that you don't usually see. When you can, pick up a new activity or pick up what you have dropped before. Could be as simple as researching on topics you were once interested in. Reading, watching shows that you never watched but said you would, go to a cafe. This is a hard one, but I realize is required for me to outgrow my ex. To consciously keep letting go. Over and over again. It's gonna hurt cause random times a memory will come up from a simple action like going to the store, coffee, cooking, etc. This can happen as frequent as your brain wants it. When that feeling comes, go back to point 1. Then tell yourself that you are letting go of that. Let go of the expectations you have had for the future. Let go of that memory. TLDR, sit with your feelings and cry as much as you need to. Remove your ex from any feed that you see, including photos, chats, social media, items too even. Do something new or something that you said you would but never got to do. Consciously letting go in your mind. That last bullet point though, it's the hardest and most heartbreaking one. I fucking hate it, but you're right. It's what we have to do. Letting go of the future I thought we would have is the hardest thing ever. Also, if you really want to reconnect and know you shouldn't, type what you want to say to your ex but don't send. Do something else like watch a YouTube video, have a meal, read. Then come back to that text. Usually that urge subsides for me and I became more logical after walking away from it. Really damn good advice. I did something kind of like this, but unfortunately I was drinking so much my state of mind couldn't keep it together to stick to this and would send texts. But sober? Technique was really helpful. Thank you for this. I broke up with my boyfriend 3 days ago, and I need this so much. He lied to me more than once, and he hurt me a lot. Couldn't even build up the courage to break up with me, twisted his words during the argument so that I say I can't do this anymore, and he said okay. It took me a moment to realize it. I asked, so that's it? He said that's what you want. I didn't want to break up though. I was tired of just me talking about it and him not saying anything. As if he already decided we're done. If so, then just say it. I keep telling myself that I did the right thing, but it's still difficult. I'm gonna try these things, maybe it will become easier. I would actually say block them no matter what. I've tried just hiding them, and frankly, it's too tempting to go look at their page and see what they're up to, and trust me, a lot of times you don't want to know what they're up to, even if it's as simple as them going out with friends and looking like they're having fun. It's going to hurt when you're at home and miserable. Just block them. I've told my exes, hey, I blocked you on social media, it hurts too much to see you all the time, and every single one of them understood perfectly. I've even added them back after time passed and I was sure I was over it. It was hard enough to get over someone before social media existed, now it's absolute torture. For me, the second point was key. For any serious relationship it's pretty much impossible to stay friends, so if it's over, cut them out. It feels a bit mean, but ultimately the day you finally block/delete them will be a good one and will help you forget about how them and how shit it made you feel. This one is a masterpiece. Thanks a lot for your comment and hope it helped in the past. Thanks for watching. If you could like, subscribe and comment best Reddit stories for more Reddit videos.